Ooh, it's me. Just remove some of these music tracks I don't want before I start them up. Um, doo-doo-doo. Yeah, we haven't had the Synesthete OST for a while. I lowered that down myself so I don't deafen me. Right. Boot, how the fuck do work? I was going to call it how the fuck do a boot work, but it said that Twitch's terms of services might not like that. So I had to change it to hell. It's not like I'm an 18 plus channel and, swearing is a thing that everyone will do. But whatever, it's fine. I need to figure out how the hell I need to do this and what pattern pieces I'm going to eventually need. So this will be a shortish stream, probably. Mostly whilst I'm trying to figure out which parts there are. Because the easy bit is going to be the stuff that is the wrong tool. That was definitely not the right. That was not the pen tool. Right, so the easy bit is going to be anything above here. So anything here, that's not so bad. Because that is most likely going to be this sort of shape. And depending on how I do this top part, I'm thinking that it's going to just be like that, and that will be folded over. And that will be this bit here. This bottom bit that's here will match the top of the boot, or top of the shoe part of it. And then this bit up here, that's just going to be whatever, like my thick fat calf circumference with a little bit. Because obviously we don't want it to be completely covering it, so it's going to be maybe an inch and a half, couple of inches. So this bit up here is calf width minus 2 inches or something. And the fun bit comes with this bit down the bottom. I say the fun bit. This is the bit that's actually that's concerning me. The bit that involves actual, thinking. Because this, no, I do not want to keep original image. I just want to move you across a bit. Because this bit, I can make whenever. Because the bottom bit will function as a shoe on its own. Because what we're going to need... Actually, I'll do it on this one because it's a bit easier to see. Because, let's face it, the images from Bloodborne, they're not the highest resolution because these are the images that are in-game. But what we can see is it's going to be like this. And then we'll have another piece that goes around here, around the back. And then most boots will have like a strip down the back to help reinforce the back seam. Let's change the color for this bit, because this bit is going to be the... I'm going to have to do all of this in one. Actually, no, can't really tell, but I'm assuming that, we can kind of cut the tongue at the same point there. And so the way this one probably works, thinking about it, will be... We've obviously got the bottom bit there. It's going to at least need some under there, so it's got something to sew to at the bottom. So I'm assuming it probably goes back quite a bit. Because these are hunter's boots. They're not going to be like... They're going to be like relatively sturdy. Although saying that, you can't see any like sewing work around the side, so it might really not have that much there. You can just about see there's like some bits at the bottom, sort of sewn there. Kind of. It's kind of faint. But what we would have is the tongue piece that would go down this middle bit. And depending on how this is sewn on, it would either be something like that, or if this seam is correct, it could actually like be something a bit more like that. Because that piece, these seams here are not attaching it to the sole, because they're visible. So I'm guessing it is attaching it to a piece of leather underneath. Which means we're going to need... Well, let's change back to the red, because the green's not very noticeable here. We'd have the tongue bit, which is what, this bit down the middle is. I mean, obviously, this is just me trying to figure out how this specific boot is. I do have... Thankfully, I do have the correct style of... Maybe the toes are a little bit different, but I couldn't find anything that was exactly this kind of pointy toe. So it would have like a sort of anchor type shape for this green outline part. Then we'd have the side part that goes... Probably extend a little bit further because it needs to wrap around the back. And there'd be two of those, one for each side. There'd be a strip that goes down the back. But what I might do with that is I might wait for that final bit until I do the top part, so that this can actually go the entire back length. Depends how... Ooh. I mean, theoretically, I could just do that top part as just a single piece of leather. and just sew it to the top, but not have the bit go up there. I mean, it's not going to be that noticeable. I mean, it probably would be, but you know, depends what I'm wearing with these things. These parts up here, honestly, I have no idea exactly how this is meant to fit into the boot. Is it just like an extra piece that's inside? That's just sewn there as like basically knee protection? Or is this could quite easy, you know, considering there's some like frayed brown edges up here, this could quite easily just be they've upturned the trousers. But it looks too much like leather because it matches this stuff. So I'm wondering if it's just like a separate piece of leather that's just inserted in, just to like help protect the knees a little bit. I don't know. And luckily, I do actually have some there's some of this pinstripe fabric as well, so I could do the trousers at some point. That'll be fun. Just do an entire Lady Maria cosplay. And let's see, what have we got in terms of like... hide that for a moment. So let's see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like there's another one there, and there, and there. It's really hard to pinpoint. I'm having to go by these, what I think are meant to be the laces. So that's 2, 4, 6, 9? That's a weird fucking number for... Oh, then oh, hang on, wait, no. They continue up underneath this. So this might be a 12. Would make sense if I do them this length, of course. Because normally ones I've seen are either 8, 6, or 12. Or if they're really long boots, like the ones that go up to like here, 18. Because you don't want to have too many eyelets, because that's just going to... you're going to need massive laces. And B, it should be really awkward to actually, you know, tighten them. And then also to get them off, because you'd have to like not only put your foot in and then tighten them all up to put them on, but then you'd have to undo most of them to take your feet out again at the end of the day. Okay, so I'd also need the 2 sole pieces, but I have the shoe lasts that I bought come with with the actual base pattern already in them, so I could just trace around that. Boom, pattern done. So I've actually got the shoe soles pattern already sorted. Cut out 2 of them. I think it's 2. Because I think the way you do it with a shoe last, I will obviously be double checking this before I actually progress on to doing things. Won't be today. This is an impromptu, I need to get this done, so I might as well stream it thing. But I think the way that, because the shoe lasts are essentially it's a piece of just a plastic foot that, you know, I mean the shape of whatever type of shoe you have asked for. And I think basically what you have in terms of layers is that there's a sole layer first, then you put the outer over the top once it's all sewed together and pull around and tack that in. And then I think you put another one there to sandwich it in so those like end bits aren't loose once you've like sewn it all together. And then you obviously have the actual like shoe sole bit, which is another thing that's gonna be fun to do because I'm gonna have to do like layers of leather. You need to do like 3 layers of leather for most of it, and then cut out like I'm gonna need like sort of 3 things of leather for the main part, glued together, and then like another 3 bits cut out for the heel, and then when it's all glued together, it should come out looking something like this, which would then like glue onto the bottom. Maybe even, if I feel fancy, tacked onto the bottom and nailed in. I do have the shoe anvil for a reason, I guess. And so like this bit would go under there, making sure the heel is like the right height for the shoe last, because when you buy shoe lasts or have them made, they have a specific heel height that you make them for. So that it's like got the right curve on the foot so you don't like screw your foot up. So your toes aren't pointing too high, too far up at the front, or pointing down at the ground, so the ball of your feet isn't firmly on the ground when you're standing properly. So it's gonna be an interesting little journey, but if it can work, then holy hell, I will have made some boots. What I'm probably gonna do is not record the first time I make it. There might be bits I do on stream, see how they go, depending on what part I'm actually doing. Because I know that when I did sewing on stream, it's loud. Sewing machine's loud. Not that good for talking over. That was when I made the little crab on a birthday stream a couple of years ago. But what I might do is like cut all the pieces out and then sew them together like by hand on stream, hand cam, whatever. And then maybe I might be able to do the tacking of it onto the shoe, depending on how good the microphone picks up hammer strikes. If it manages to cancel the noise out, wonderful. If not, we'll have to see how that goes. But I might be able to at least like construct most of it together. Maybe. But there's like a bunch of things that will need doing, like on all of these. There is a tool that I cannot remember the name of that is essentially a big metal thing that does this, and it has like a bunch of points at the end that are equally spaced that you place onto the leather and whack really fucking hard so that it puts holes of equal distance along the places where you need to sew. And then you would also do that on the corresponding piece, which would be like, I mean, that top bit wouldn't probably need any, depending on how. I might like sew that over. I don't know. We'll see. It depends how like accurate I want to go to the actual boots. As long as they're functional boots at the end of the day, I'm not that worried. But if I can make them actually as close as possible to these, that would be perfect. But so yeah, what you would do is you'd have these lines on the one piece. You'd also like match up like where they would actually go on the other piece. So you basically have the holes ready to go, and you don't have to like push the needle through the leather. You just slide it through the hole that's already there. Because I think you'd probably want to do saddle stitches for it, which are where you have like two needles with their own thread, and like you essentially you've got two pieces next to each other, and you have one that goes like that, and then you have another one that they use the same hole, but they kind of like zigzag through the same holes together, but opposite ways, because it's really strong, holds things together quite well. So I'm thinking that's probably what we're going to want to do. Make these boots really strong. It is probably the kind of stitch that you would have used for things like this. I could look at all of my boot making, like my not millinery, boot making and cobbler books that have some like the historic ways of doing it in there. Because obviously these are Bloodborne boots. They're not like fancy sewing machines, I guess. Might do. It is like weird Victorian-y, gothic-y thing, so they could have actual sewing machines. But chances are these are made by, a cobbler. And looking at this, it really does seem that that tongue is quite long, so this might actually go like all the way up. It might be like a really long one. So you'd have two of these, one on either side, that get sewn on. This top bit would then get, so this bit here and this bit here would be together. And then I'd have to get the, I think I have grommets, the eye holes for lasers somewhere. I do have like a box of the various like haberdashery stuff for leather making. So I should have eyelets in there somewhere. I just remember them being really awkward the last time I tried to do them because I don't have a proper press. So that'll be fun to try out. If anything's going to screw up, it will be that. But I think that is basically all that I'm going to need for it. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to be doing pattern just from this alone. The shoe last is currently, well, one of them at least, is currently covered in masking tape. And what I'll be doing is on that masking tape, drawing the vague patterns of this onto that so that I can peel the masking tape off and cut the masking tape up into the actual pieces. It's the exact same way that a bunch of people do like duct tape patterns, where you just like wrap like cling film around your arm, then wrap a bunch of duct tape around it, cut it off, and boom, you have like an arm pattern ready to go. It's the same thing, only it's using a shoe last instead of an arm, or a leg, or a torso if you're doing like corsetry or whatever. Um, Honestly, I think that might be it for today. I thought it was actually going to take me a bit longer to get my head around, quite frankly. But I guess it is a relatively simply constructed boot. It's not like there's not much. There is I guess there is some like embellishment on this top bit, but that could just be like scuffed from like like the same as up here. It could just be that that's where the boots have been rubbed, because the stuff on both sides, they don't look the same on both legs. So it's not like a maker's mark or like a signature of who made them or anything like that. And that would also involve me having to like figure out how the hell to, like, is it embossed leather or whatever? I'm no idea how that would work. So we're not going to even go there. But yeah, I think for now that will do. Chances of me actually doing any of this the rest of this week, I might do like the actual like drawing on the shoe last pattern. I don't know when I'm going to get around to make it, because it's going to involve energy. And it's the reason I haven't streamed much. Lack of energy. But I really want to make these. I really want to at least fuck up once. Because I know full well that the first pair are probably going to be hideous. If they come out looking decent and wearable, I will be amazed and I will be happy. If they come out kind of okay, I'll still be happy. I mean, I'm learning a brand new skill here. Another one. It's not like I have enough of them already, apparently. I do have the pattern made already somewhere for the hat. That's a totally separate one. That's going to be made of leather as well at some point, maybe. Just try doing that. Just try doing them nice. I literally thought to myself, it would be cool if I could make these boots. And so I'm going to try making these boots. If they work, yay! If they don't, I will, I don't know, maybe blame L. I guess. It's the usual way of going. Just blame L. Yeah, I'm hoping. Like the big thing with this is that at the end of it, I want to be able to have everything that I wear be something that I made. So the plan is to do like the proper old style like undergarment stuff out of linen. So I've bookmarked a page where I can buy linen. I'm going to have to buy a lot of it, because if I'm going to want to do that properly, I'm going to need enough for like multiple sets so that I can, actually wear them and wash them, and that's going to be interesting because, linen works totally differently to cotton. It's better, apparently. It's what we used to always wear under clothing. But yes, I'm going to need like to get a bunch of linen for that. Skirts I've already done. I've got like 2 or 3 skirts dotted around that I've made. Trousers I haven't done yet. Mainly because at the moment, my body shape is not conducive to trousers. I don't think I'd enjoy it. Same with tops. I did have a pattern that I worked on a while ago, but that was like pre-COVID, before I put a lot of weight on. So it currently would not fit me anyway, and it wouldn't be close to fitting me until I get some weight lost. Hat. My head is unlikely to shrink if I lose weight, so I might as well make that at some point. Same with socks. If I could do like figure out how to make socks, that would be cool. I'm assuming I could really just crochet a tube with and just like seal the end. But we'll figure that out at some point. That's another skill later on. Currently I can crochet lines. It's the best I've got. So if I can figure out how to make that line a tube, I'm in. What other ones would there be? Gloves are difficult. I've tried gloves before, and they're just really, really annoying because of like the gussets between the fingers. So I might not do gloves for a while. I have seen a couple of ways to make them. So that'll be an interesting way of doing it. We'll try that at some point. But for now, the first plan is make boot. But yeah, I think I'll leave it there. I've figured out the pattern pretty much. Like I said, I just need to like do some measurements of my own legs, work out like how wide this top bit needs to be, things like that. Let's have a look. No one I follow is online, so no raiding today. But yeah, thank you for the short amount of time I've been I've been going today. You know, it's been a lot quicker than I was expecting, and there's not really any games or anything I want to play, so we'll just leave it at that. Plus, in about half an hour's time, I'm going to be like watching four nerds play Warhammer together, so that'll be funny. That may or may not be streamed. If it's streamed, that'll be on Sheepa's channel, on the Sheepa Network. I think he was planning on streaming it. I don't know. If he is, I'll be there too. Until then, thank you for watching. We kind of figure out how a boot work, and someday we will make it. Until then, bye bye.